Coffee, youngest kid and I are going to, there were many topics that we thought about, discussing, but all of them sort of intertwine. And so I guess it's just going to be one of those random type discussions about reality.
Mm-hmm.
What is reality? How do we know what is real? And this can get very broad and very deep very quickly, and we don't want to have a 4 hour long because, no.
Yeah, no, neither of us are in a mood for a 4 hour long
No,
thing right
no.
now.
And it's like there are so many things that can alter our perception of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And, the health issues I have had, for whatever reason, increase in health concerns as of late, and went to my physician yesterday who told me everything I was eating was incorrect. And it's like, okay, well, that makes sense, because if you have inflammation and there's...
Don't eat nuts and twigs.
Well, the nuts and twigs are fine if you don't have some kind of whatever it is. And quick, very brief for those who may not have heard it before, I contracted chicken pox when I was 20 years old during finals in nursing. That was fun. And after that, my health was never good. And so then it was a matter of them labeling it. It used to be called Epstein-Barr virus. Then it was chronic fatigue syndrome / fibromyalgia. Now they call it myoencephalus something, ME, whatever the hell that is. It's some kind of retrovirus. It's this broad, official sounding term for you have something, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do for it. And there are times, stress does cause it to exacerbate. And that is what has happened. And it's a matter of, okay, how do I get the stuff back in remission? And then combined with the diabetes, it's an autoimmune cluster. And I'm going to try to make this a little family friendly because
it's a cluster mess.
It is a cluster. And to find out that when you're taking things to boost your immune system, if you have an autoimmune disorder, you're throwing gasoline on a fire.
Uh-huh.
And it's
you're screwing yourself over.
Absolutely. But the thing is, your brain becomes inflamed also because that's part of the body.
Which causes a lot of mental shit.
It does cause a lot of mental shit. We'll put an adult language warning on this.
No, you don't have to. That's actually considered PG-13.
No, I don't care. I will put an adult language warning because it does alter your perception of everything.
Yeah.
And stuff that would not bother you. If you've ever been around a diabetic when their sugar has dropped, they get grumpy.
Very.
And they don't even know that they're getting grumpy. Now, see, I don't get grumpy when mine drops. I just feel tired.
No, sometimes you do get grumpy.
Do I get grumpy?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe that's the Betty White thing. I need to go and, eat a Snickers or whatever?
Yeah. eat a Snickers. You're not yourself when you're hungry.
It's like, yes, go into a sugar coma. You'll be quiet for a while. So, within that, because as far as depression, I have had issues with severe depression from time to time since I was about 12. A lot of that has to do with hormonal imbalance and different things like that.
Sorry.
And even as far as when I have a major depressive episode at this point, to not wrap a story around it, but to also tell everybody, hey, I'm having, increased, I'm in a bad space as far as my perception. But people don't like to listen, and they want to poke people with sticks. And when you're like that, things that normally would not bother you badly. So if someone says, hey, I'm not in a good headspace, the best thing that you can do is, hey, I'm here for you. If I can help in any way, if you want to talk, if you want me to listen, just do that. That's the best thing that you can do, and let somebody work through it.
Mm-hmm.
So that brought forth this continued topic of reality. What is reality? Altered reality. We have seen people recently, it's mass hysteria. It truly is. And delusions, major delusions. And this goes into the topic of psyops, which...
Disney is not reality.
No, it's not. And this has been a long-running plan. And, especially as far as kids and stuff like that, I call it the Disneyfication of our world, where everything is rainbows and unicorns, and that's not so.
No, the world is not always kind. The world is not always pretty. But because you have to have chaos to balance, you have to have that balance.
Well, I don't know that I want to say that, because that is the powers that be, that is one of their slogans, is out of chaos comes order. And that is the agenda.
I don't think order comes in, but when you constantly see the bad, the little things that actually bring joy matter. They matter more than to someone else who just is constantly in happiness. They start to take that stuff for granted.
And I think, but part of this is when they are absolutely bombarded day in and day out. And folks, there's buttons on some of these devices. You can turn that stuff off. You do have control. Don't put that poison in your spirit.
Internet is not reality either.
Absolutely, it's not reality. Except us, because if you were to come and sit with us on the porch,
it would be the same thing.
This is how we are. This is real. But within that, people there is a emotional numbing, and they become desensitized to things. That is one of the psyops things that's happening, which goes back to the Disneyfication. Mm-hmm. And when you teach children fantasy, and when you lie to children, they grow up with this warped view of the world. When they find out that they have been deceived and lied to, then that gives them trust issues. It makes them question not only the people that lied to them, that they trusted to tell them the truth. Some people get to the point they don't believe anyone. They're very paranoid. They're always suspicious of that someone has an agenda, which a lot of times these days people do. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, this is some brain breaking stuff, and it's designed to be that way.
Yeah. And everybody wants a happy ending, but sometimes that doesn't happen. A lot of the time that doesn't happen. You don't get a perfect Disney happy ending.
No, you don't. One of the most real, you have horrible, horrible allergies. Everybody has got horrible, horrible allergies.
Hold on, there's going to be like 2 more. Oh, I sneezed on it.
Okay. Anyhow, within that, again, with the real, Jordan Peterson has some of the best wisdom out there today. He truly does.
Yeah.
And that the powers that be that want to encourage delusional behavior have fought against him tooth and nail, because we have a suppression of thought, wisdom, knowledge, all that. I mean, it is just truly horrifying.
Yeah.
And as somebody, that has worked and lived with people that are mentally ill, what are you getting? He's leaning closer to me. What is it? What are you going to say? Don't sneeze on the camera. Okay. That's very distracting. You know that, right? Anyhow, it's one of those that when somebody has delusions, which is an alternate reality, that is their paradigm, their view of the world, is not the same as other people's, to the point that it prevents them from being able to function normally within society. That's when it becomes mental illness.
Yeah.
And there are some delusions that, if it's not impairing that person's ability to function within society, you have to question, is it really delusional?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are alternate perceptions of life. There are people that perceive things that other people do not.
And we don't know these people who are schizophrenic. They could be possibly seen into other dimensions.
They very well could. But the thing is, it does impair their ability to function.
Absolutely.
The hallucinations and stuff, especially the paranoia, and that is so tragic because the people that are paranoid schizophrenics, the people that love them, they push them away.
Mm-hmm.
They see them as wanting to harm them. It's very hard on the family members that love the person that has the schizophrenia because they would never hurt this person,
Mm-hmm.
and to be accused falsely. So that's a very difficult dynamic to work through. But, as far as other delusions that somebody may have, if they see the color pink as chartreuse, that's not hurting anybody.
Yeah, that's
I mean, if they're
completely
trying to, color coordinate, that might be a little challenging, but other than that, it's not harmful.
It's called color blindness.
No, it does go the chartreuse and the orange, doesn't it? And then it's the blue and the gray?
Uh-huh. Blue, gray. It's hard to... it's hell if you have a grayscale color blindness and everything is just gray.
How does monochrome work for people who are colorblind?
Oh god, that would fuck them up. There would be basically no dimension.
Wonder if that, as far as the depth perception, wonder if that would affect that also. And
I don't know. Don't you have a viewer that's colorblind? Don't you have any viewers that are
I don't know. I don't know that anybody has ever talked
I'm pretty
about
sure
being
Dad is
colorblind.
a bit colorblind.
I know one of your uncles is colorblind. But anyhow, this is the Stratera discussion that we had the other day.
I got ADHD.
Yeah. But if you've got somebody that is delusional and it is a dangerous delusion that can cause them harm in the long run, if you've got somebody that they thoroughly believe that they are Superman and that they have the ability to fly and they're going to jump off of a roof to prove that they can, that is their belief, but that is not reality.
Exactly, and that's the thing people want, like, that goes into something like people are blaming video games for everything. No, it's not the video game's fault. It's if you have a child who has mental disorders, who has a difficult time distinguishing reality from delusions or whatever, do not let them play Silent Hill. Do not let them play Grand Theft Auto.
Well, that's where you've got to have...
It's not the game's fault. It's all
some
into...
parenting things. It's like
Yeah.
electronic devices are not designed as parents.
Exactly.
But someone would be very remiss in not trying to stop someone from carrying through with a dangerous delusion.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we have people that they are encouraging people in their delusions. And that at some point, the enabler of these people, I don't know how they're going to feel, because when it is going to be to the detriment and sometimes to the demise of some of these people, is anybody going to ever stop and think, hey, I took part in that? Or are they going to excuse that away, rationalize it away? Oh, well, I was just... It's like you were just what? You were helping someone be more mentally ill?
Mm-hmm. For some reason, people think mental illness is trendy. It's not trendy. It's living hell if you actually have it.
Yeah.
It's not fun being depressed. It's not fun having anxiety. It's not fun being so scared, like your anxiety taking over, that you can't do some of the things that you absolutely want to do.
Well, and it's just like...
living life normally.
Fear sells.
Yeah.
And business is booming right now. And that this is impairing people's ability to live normally. And,
absolutely it is.
And it is causing an absolute epidemic, an explosion of mental illness. I mean, severe mental illness. And we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when you understand things that's being said, do your own research on anything. If somebody says something, and that includes us, go back and do your own research and say, hey, they were right about this. How did they know what they know? Now, I don't feel the need to put everything in, APA format for everybody with every citation of everything I've ever heard, read, or thought of. That's what the colleges are doing now. They're not teaching kids to think for themselves. They're wanting them to regurgitate somebody else's words. That I know because when I was working on my master's degree, to experience what college is like, I graduated in 91. And then a couple of years ago to try to go back into that environment. Oh, no. It doesn't work because I think for myself. And that is frowned upon in a lot of these supposed higher learning facilities.
Uh-huh. And the thing is, even with that, same for regular public school or whatever, they're not teaching children to think. They're not teaching them actual skills that they need in real life.
Right. And it's like to question, okay, this person said this. Are they misinformed? Where did they get their sources? How did they come by this knowledge? And even as far as what we think we know from the supposed sources of the time, did they know what they were talking about? This is where we have to do our own. It's like, all right, scientific. Does this work like this? Okay, if you throw a rock off of a roof, 100% chance of the time it's going to hit the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, that you can state is a truth. It is a fact. Mm-hmm. And yet you've got people that are totally discounting reality. And it goes into the realm of gaslighting because, and I had commented to Julian when she had made a comment that when you have ever worked with addicts, now their sense of reality is horribly, horribly altered. And when you have a family member or a loved one that is an addict, it is very easy to get drawn down into that rabbit hole of madness.
Very.
Because you love that person and you want the best for that person, and that when they are in your face haranguing you, I've got to have this, to tell them no, that is a very difficult thing to do, to have to be faced with the possibility of calling the police or mental health services or whatever it is to truly help that person. And there comes a point of self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
But when you ask that same person when they are not using, it's like, explain to me what you were thinking. And when you listen to the answers, it's absolutely astounding because their thinking was so altered. And it's not them, which is why I thoroughly am convinced it's a form of demonic possession. Because that person is not in control, that drug is in control. That's another thing that people have known for a very long time what the side effects, including the psychological side effects of these drugs, were or have been. And so what do? They keep making ones that are new and improved ways to kill yourself.
Because it's all just decreases surplus population.
Now, they used to have pain medications for a long time that you did not have the vast amount of addicts that you do today. Mm-hmm. Those drugs, a lot of them have been pulled from the market because they were not as addictive. There was always some excuse. It's like, oh, well, there was a black box, whatever it was. It's like, all right, it was used for 100 years. And then somebody's going to have a problem with something somewhere. You know, that's just life. So within this, and the altering of reality, it's not just alternate realities. It is the altering of reality. And gaslighting is just
insane.
It is in epidemic proportions. It is a matter of psyops. It is intended to break brains, and it's damned effective.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
because gaslighting can fuck a person up mentally.
Oh, absolutely.
Majorly.
Absolutely. For somebody to tell you, oh, you're not seeing what you're seeing, you're not hearing what you're hearing, that's the reason when somebody is delusional, you have to handle these people very delicately.
And that's also it's a similar thing to the children seeing spooks.
Absolutely, it is the same thing. And that's the reason, but you can't totally discount that, you know, to find out. And this is where dialoguing with anybody, if it's children, if it is somebody, now, if you're not trained as far as, always seek professional help. If you've got somebody that has an addiction issue, if you're experiencing some kind of psychological something, always seek professional help.
Seek the right ones.
Right, seek the right ones. You know, a lot of therapists anymore are learning that not everything is just a mental illness, that there is the realm of spirit. And that's, there, with some providers, that is becoming an integration, which is so needed. But you also can't totally throw out the other either, you know, because if somebody does have a temporal lobe seizure and they are seeing things that are not there.
Hi, honey.
That there's medications to help with that. I mean, anybody that's having these visions that are horrific, you know, and to see somebody suffer in that way,
mm-hmm.
and that's the basis of humanity, is want to try to alleviate suffering, but that there are those amongst us that it is, they think it's their job, and some of them that it is their job to cause suffering and to manipulate suffering. That is evil.
Very. Mm-hmm.
But as far as teach these children reality.
Do unto others as you would done unto you.
Absolutely.
Treat people how you want to be treated. If you want to be treated like shit, you go ahead, treat people like shit. If you want to be treated with kindness and respect, treat people with kindness and respect.
The reality is that...
And even if they don't show respect back to you, still show it.
Sure. The reality is that we have choice. And what we do with that choice is our responsibility. There are some people, they don't want that responsibility. A day simply is. It's our perception of whether it was a good day or a bad day. Just as events, we can perceive those as good things or bad things. And to weigh that out and balance that out. And sometimes it's a matter, it's like, well, that wasn't pleasant at the time, but maybe it led to something better. Something that may seem really great at the time may lead to something worse down the road. There is no total one way or the other than God. God is totally good. He is consistent. Everything else is just you riding the tide on this stuff. Explore the alternate realities as far as meditation and different things like that.
Explore the unexplored.
It's just like we were talking about Hieronymus Bosch, and that he, in his art, and he was apparently a very well-adjusted, successful man, but in his artwork, this absolutely amazing world, and I will leave a link to some of his artwork
It's
in
incredible.
the comment section. He was surrealism before surrealism had a name. He was the influence for Salvador Dali and people like that. That within their mind, these amazing worlds came forth. And they were able to control that, and they were able to share that with others. But when you've got other people trying to alter reality itself, then we got a problem.
Yeah.
And to any kind of option, you can weigh that out. Don't pigeonhole people, because individuals perceive differently. But there are things that...
It's never a good idea to pigeonhole in general.
No. But there are things that simply are. Fire is hot. You know, wild animals are wild animals. I don't care if it's a bunny rabbit or if it's a grizzly bear. Do not go up and try to pet that, because that is not that animal's nature.
I mean, you can pet a possum if you want.
I don't know
that they are so docile.
I don't know.
And stupid.
It depends on the possum. It depends on the possum. Now, what if you tell somebody to go here and pet a possum, a wild possum, and that possum bites them? What if they got rogue possum?
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, possum bit me, oops.
It's like this. Wild animals do what they do.
Possum bit me, gave me rabies, oops.
Yeah, really. I just see.
Actually, they don't. They're the least likely to carry rabies.
Yes, but it's not impossible for them to have rabies.
No, but it's incredibly rare.
But it does happen. Do you really, really want to play that?
I'll be
roulette?
the 1%.
No, don't be.
I'll gladly be the 1% if I can pet a... I've pet possums before.
You did pet a possum. You really did. But it's like children need to understand that there are absolutes. People need to understand that, yes, there are still absolutes. And that don't allow yourself to be gaslighted into denying reality. So that's basically what's been on.
There is no wonderland. There is no wonderland.
Well, you create your own wonderland. You do. You create your own, wonderland.
Yeah, but as far as like an actual other place that you can just go, no. So then you have to make it yourself. Even if it's just doing your house weirdly, like.
Right.
Like, if I had my own place, hell yeah, I would have this winding staircase if I could. It would be like an acid trip all the way through. It would be Alice in Wonderland themed.
For about a day and a half, and then you would change your mind.
You're right, yeah.
Anyhow. But that is, you can control your environment, and that includes your internal environment. If somebody wants to present evidence that it's like, hey, you thought about this, for X number of years, but we found out now that this was incorrect. Okay, be willing to accept new knowledge, but make sure that new knowledge is accurate.
Don't be a fool.
Don't be a fool. Be discerning. So that's what we got, alternate realities versus the altering of reality. Mm-hmm. So if you all have any supernatural or paranormal experiences, if you've had UFO or alien encounters, and the UFO sightings are still going through the roof, so
they're increasing.
Oh yeah, that's coming soon. I figure that Great Deception.
Come back, take me up, beat me up, Scotty.
The altering of reality on that. Experiences with cryptids. I'll have a...
Do not say... I'm just going to say this as a warning. This is possibly the last time I'm going to say its name. Well, more probably not, because I'd be pea-brained. But Wendigo, call it a skinwalker, not because of your fucking race, because race doesn't. That doesn't matter. You're saying its actual name, which is dangerous. So just call it a skinwalker.
You know, I heard something about that today, that they were saying that lots of places have had all this bogus stuff, but that Skinwalker Ranch is legit.
Yes, it's
that there
real.
are more occurrences that is the real Area 51.
Real. The Skinwalker is real. The not deer is real. By the way, if you see a not deer, look away immediately. Don't try to approach it. Don't continue to stare at it.
Save that for another video. But anyhow, with the
cryptids,
and yeah, as far as the chimeras, I have found some more very highly disturbing stuff. So I'll have a video on that in a couple of days, barring unforeseen. Your experiences with alternate reality, your experiences with how this altering of reality is affecting you. You know, any of those things, send those to me at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And, you know, community, when you have people that are like-minded and that they can share experiences, they can keep each other in check, then that's how we will get through that, and by the grace of God. So you all have a beautiful, blessed day.
Bye.